I'll just have you imagine that whale that you're familiar with. Can you remember that whale?
Oh yeah, I have stories about that whale.
Beautiful. So just
Yeah.
tap into that energy and allow that energy to guide you to a nice deep trance or whatever level of trance is most appropriate for your journey today. Let yourself relax.
I just jumped off into the ocean and I'm by the whale.
Beautiful. What's your form like? What type of gift does he have for you today? Or
Oh,
message?
the whale sending energy into my chest, my heart space.
Mm-hmm.
I had a huge shift yesterday with the exiled part.
Yeah.
I met during my parts work and she really cried a lot and
Mm,
let out a lot of pain from young childhood.
yeah.
She was raised to believe that her presence was the problem. And she released this huge amount of pain, and now the whale is sending in like just this lovely, I don't know, calming,
What color does it
confident.
remind you of?
It's a very, very pale pink,
The pink energy.
like a creamy pale pink. And she's sending me, the whale is sending me confidence into this area.
Uh-huh.
Like yesterday, I realized I've believed my whole life that my presence is the problem.
Ah.
And oh, I
Mm-hmm.
cried so much and I released this huge, like, knot that was here.
Mm-hmm.
And whale is now,
Yeah.
until the whale started filling it with this energy, I didn't realize that it was empty.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good job clearing out that space. And now, as you absorb that pink energy, you feel that filling your being. What will that allow you to do?
Oh, to feel confident that whatever I go for, my presence is the magic. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
to convince someone else that me being there is worthwhile. It's more like me feeling that, oh, me being here is the magic.
Um, what's happening as you're showing these people what you've made?
There's no positive energy emanating from the young man. He's just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there's no and there's no exchange between him and the person he's showing it
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
because he's created this wall of protection that if I don't be too energized or enthusiastic, then I won't be disappointed. But it's also a wall between him and the person he's.
Mm-hmm. Can you notice their reaction? What are they like?
They're also staying neutral because they're not getting an exchange.
Yeah.
So they're not getting a connection, is what I was trying
Yeah.
to say.
Well, I can
Yeah.
see several different ways we might bring that pink energy into this situation. I'll let you, you're very creative. How would you like to bring that pink energy in? Does it just come in
But
or?
I put the pink energy into him, which is the energy of confidence,
Yeah.
and into the object, and and then that confidence allows him to let down the protective wall
Oh,
of
uh-huh.
doubt, and he can openly engage with the other person and create the connection. And that connection is what makes the object valuable to the other person. Does that make sense? That's what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Yeah. Beautiful. And how does that change their reaction?
And then they're interested in wanting to know more
Mm.
and wanting to have that object because it's infusing the energy of the confidence of the man to be his friend.
That something tells me that you can help each other with things. What are the kinds of things that you might help each other with?
Well, he can help me with being more confident
Yeah. Yeah.
because he got that light and he can remind me or give me some of the light if I lose it.
And how can you help him?
Oh, I've been wanting to cry the last couple of minutes and I realized
Mm.
the present doesn't feel she has the confidence to handle a negative outcome from the colonoscopy.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. What does she think will happen? What does that look like? Not handling the outcome.
That I won't be able to get myself back to a good place again.
Mm. Mm-hmm. What does that inner healer say?
She's saying that's not the thought to focus on.
It's okay to entertain that thought, but that's not the one to hold. What's a better thought to hold?
That we'll do our best
Yeah,
with whatever comes up.
yeah. We'll do our best at whatever comes up.
Yeah, this young man's saying, I know you're afraid of being alone, but I'll be here. I'll be your friend.
I'll be here. Yeah. That feeling of I'm the problem. I'm at fault. What does she say about that?
She's laughing and saying, Gosh, remember when we used to feel that way?
Check in. What's her physical form
She's
like? How she
very
holds herself?
strong and powerful.
Strong. Yeah.
She's, this is all behind her. It's like she doesn't even really remember feeling like that, just like yesterday when I didn't remember that I used to have terrible symptoms when I tried to read
Mm-hmm.
titled books on the bookshelf.
She has lots of things to look forward to. So just notice that she's looking into the future.
Ooh, I suddenly had a nice little sense, this just a glimmer of 5 years down the road, I'm going to be okay. So it doesn't matter what happens here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I really like that.
Mm.
That the colonoscopy, like when you're making progress, you go like this, like this, like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And that, maybe the colonoscopy is a little dip here, and then
Yeah.
eventually you're going to be there. And ultimately, in the big picture, it doesn't really matter if the colonoscopy created a hiccup
Mm-hmm.
or created a dip.
Just be you.
The last 5-10 minutes,
Yeah.
this muscle and this one have been just.
I'm curious. There's another thing you said that you wouldn't be able to survive if you didn't eat. So I'm curious what the soul wants to bring in about eating, survival. What do you notice? Is there a lifetime where that was an issue where you didn't have enough? Show me a time where you wouldn't survive if you didn't eat for a day. What's happening?
Oh, I just got a really strong visual of like
Yeah.
me almost like a corpse because I'm so starved.
Yeah. What led you to that? What's happening in that lifetime? It's creating such hardship. How old are you?
I'm like a young woman in her
Um,
30s or early 40s.
mm-hmm,
I think I'm very poor and I didn't have
mm,
any food to eat and I was starving to death.
mm. Have you ever had enough food in that life?
No.
Mm. What does that make you do?
The words are coming and just destroyed me
Mm-hmm,
because it was like my only focus. And then
mm-hmm,
that made me feel the energy of when I was anorexic in high school, that it was my only focus.
mm-hmm, hmm. Only focus. Yeah. I want you to go into the last
Oh,
moment.
wait.
Yeah.
And focusing on it so much was what kept me safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I see now that when I was anorexic, focusing on the food or not eating the food was what kept me safe at the
Yeah. What would
time.
have happened if you hadn't focused on that?
For that woman in that lifetime.
Yeah.
Well, she thinks she would have died if she hadn't focused on it, but there's another voice saying if you hadn't over focused on the food, you would have focused on the things that would have helped you find the food.
Oh, so it didn't really keep her safe, sounds like. Okay. And what about Zia in this life? How did focusing on food, how did she think that that kept her safe?
Yeah, it's definitely emotional eating in the night, and I think it keeps me safe when I go and eat. And I've always eaten late at night. Uh,
Mhm.
I think because I worked late, and so I'd finish in the studio and come home and I'd be hungry again.
Mhm. What can you offer this woman that will help her? You can give her some energy or friendship, or what does she need as you connect with that other life?
She needs a plate of food.
Plate of food. Yeah. Yeah. As simple as that. What do you want to offer
And
her? How
someone
do
to
you show
sit
that?
with her while she eats.
Yeah. Yeah. And as she's nourished, what does that allow her to do?
It allows her to take her focus off that and
Yeah.
go kind of start living.
That start living. What does she like to do? What does she spend her time doing now that she doesn't have to be focused on food?
I'm getting she was a dancer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How does that affect her dancing?
That the food nourishes her and gives her energy to
The
dance.
dance. And if you can't go into that body and just feel yourself dancing, feel that freedom that she feels now that she's nourished, now that she can dance. You might notice that pink energy and the blue energy are there. But just notice the balance that you feel in that body as you're dancing. You're connected, you're grateful for this nourishment you've been provided. Maybe you've met a new friend in this other aspect that is Zia in this lifetime. So just recognize that feeling.
I'm getting the phrase that it wasn't that she was a professional dancer, that she could get up and had the energy to dance through life.
Yeah, yeah. Now you can. Wonderful. What does that allow you to do as you dance through life?
Oh, put your focus on the joy and the good things happening.
Mhm, mhm.
I still have some resistance. I'm like, Yeah, but what does that have to do with me not with me being afraid not that I won't be able to eat in the night in the evening?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. The eating hides me from the feeling of loneliness that I feel every evening late at
Mm-hmm.
night. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's when I really feel the I'm alone. There's nobody here with me. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's when I started eating emotionally when Lynn was in high school and she was really pulling away from being me and being nasty. Like there was nobody else here. It was just alone. So then I went to get something to eat. And I think at that time of the night I feel so alone and I just I can't touch that feeling. So I go and eat something.
Mm. And what would happen if we just looked at that feeling?
I feel kind of sick to my stomach.
Mm.
Like
Mm. Yeah.
I'm terrified of feeling aloneness.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about your physical reactions. You say you feel a little bit sick. What else is happening to your body?
I really feel it here, in this part of my stomach, like where the solar plexus is in a long strip
Yeah.
from just under my sternum down to my belly button.
Mm-hmm.
And like my throat's closing up, and I get that feeling of like wanting to throw up,
Mm-hmm.
like feel sick with the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And, after I was anorexic, I was bulimic for 10
Tell
years.
me, what thoughts are you thinking as you get that feeling? What are your mental reactions?
I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna die.
Um, I can't go near this. It's too much. I can't touch this. I feel sickeningly alone.
I'm sick. What will happen if you do?
I I'll die. It's too much.
I'm gonna die. As you're tapping into that feeling, are you a man or a woman? I'm gonna die. I'm sick. I'm alone.
That woman who was lying
That
there
woman. Yeah.
who didn't have any food, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to that last moment of your life. Is that woman? Tell me.
Woman who wasn't eating or who was then got the food from me and was dancing through life.
The one that's feeling like they're sick, they're gonna die. Who is that? I thought it was the same woman.
Yeah, it's the woman who didn't have the confidence.
Yeah. Well, if you hadn't fed her, it sounds like she was on her last legs.
Yeah.
Let's go into that reality where that happened and go into that body and tell me you're feeling like you're gonna die, you're sick, and you're alone. What's the worst part about that?
Being alone.
Mm-hmm. What does being alone prevent you from doing?
From having a life because then she just dies like that.
Mm-hmm.
Dies kind of in agony.
What's the last thought you're able to think before you leave that body?
There was no one here for me.
Mm-hmm. What's the last thing your body feels?
It's when I'm having it's I have this spasm where I curl
Mm-hmm.
up and my muscles push towards my spine and like I can't breathe. And I'm like, oh my God, that's the image I'm getting of that's the state she was in, like her body spasming into like death, and then she died.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same action when you throw up, like
Yeah.
body goes into a curve and
Yeah. Mm. Where does your soul go after you leave that body?
oh, my soul's going, oh, I'm so glad to be out of that body. And
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
disgusted with that body. that
Mm.
body was so pathetic.
What does it feel
That
like to
body
not have
had
a
no
body?
life. What?
What does it feel like to not have a body?
I don't know what's feeling like. My soul feels really heavy after it left that body.
Ah,
Like
uh-huh.
heavy disappointment, failure, and like as if it's depleted from making too much effort trying to
Hmm.
stay alive.
Well, go ahead and collect all your energy from that
Oh,
body.
suddenly the soul's like, that body did not want to live.
Oh, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Well, from this perspective, you're able to see that lifetime in a whole new way. So looking back over that life, you'll understand your purpose for going into that body. Why did you go into that body? What was your purpose in that lifetime?
Saying to learn that I was safe even if I was starved, but I didn't get the lesson.
Ah, what happens when you don't learn the lesson? What do you do then?
You feel like a failure.
Oh, I thought you try again. In that case, you were feeling like a failure. What did that cause you to do?
Can a soul feel failure?
It's not as usual as the conscious mind feeling failure. There are places that we go to ameliorate those feelings. So let's find those places. I want you to go into the light and find your team. And as your soul goes into the light, collect all of your energy from that body, from that incarnation. Make sure you get all of the pieces, bring them all into the light. As you're there with your team, they may have some messages for you about your purpose, about the lessons that you're learning through these experiences. What do they say about that lifetime? Do they see it as a failure or can it change the poison to medicine?
I'm like, who's the team? We've never talked about a team.
It's anybody that wants to be there.
Oh,
Anybody from your soul group, your family, your ancestors, your guides, your guardians, your angels, your fairy, your whale, anybody, any positive source aspects that are here to guide, to protect, can even be ourselves from the future as ascended masters. So maybe it's that part of you from 5 years from now. Maybe it's a part of you from 100 years from now. So just take a moment and feel who's there with you. Do you have a lot of people there in the light with you helping, or just a few?
yeah, there's several. There's a few. I have to think a little bit to hear them.
Yeah. What do they want you to know about that lifetime of hardship? Do they see it as a failure?
No,
Hmm. Mhm.
it's like they don't judge it as positive or negative,
Mm,
failure or success. It was just a life.
mm, mhm. And what did you learn from that experience? How does that life affect lifetime?
I think I'm getting that the message was that if you over focus on anything, then it blocks you from everything else.
Mm, mhm.
And that woman was only focused on feeding her starving body.
Mhm.
And so
Notice too that you just helped her learn that lesson, that you're part of her process. Can you see that in that big picture?
yeah, because in the
Yeah.
quantum field,
Yeah. But
it's
she's not a
all
failure. She just learned it now, right?
like that.
Yeah, she just learned it with your help. And now how will her lesson that she learned with your help, how's that going to help you? What's that going to allow you to do or to let go of?
To try not to over focus on all these things that I over focus on. And that when I stop focusing on them, then I can dance through life.
Beautiful.
And I should say, to not focus on the negative or the difficult things,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Wonderful. And on that note, I want to let you rest pretty soon. You've done so much work today. Good job. Now, before we bring you back into full awareness, let's do one exercise. I like the one with the picture frame where you make different pictures. So we're going to do that one. So I want you to go ahead and make a picture of anything you might consider an obstacle, something that you might move past, the things that we're talking about that we don't really want to focus on. Just for this exercise, we're going to focus on them one more time. So put that into a collage, anything you consider an obstacle, a limitation, something you want to move past. And tell me when you have that collage starting to form.
Mm.
Okay. I put that one on the left side of your vision and put it in kind of a dingy, dirty, plain picture frame. Maybe there's some cobwebs on the pictures. And now on the other side, on the right side of your vision, I want you to put a beautiful golden picture frame. And in that picture, start to make a collage of you on the other side of all those obstacles. This is you victorious, you with a support system. You are safe, you are healthy, you're supporting others with your energy. You're independent, but you're not alone. Anything else that needs to go in that picture frame to show that support, that strength, your resilience? Let me know when you have that collage.
Yeah.
Good. And now from the other picture, the limitations picture, is there anything that you don't want to get rid of? Or would you be comfortable just making those disappear?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want you to reach out your hands and start to shrink that picture on the left, just like you can shrink an image on your cell phone. Reach out your hands and shrink that image down all the way down till it's only about the size of, say, a postage stamp. And then shrink it all the way down, even smaller, until it's only about the size of a pinhole. And then imagine, poof, it's gone. Sucked down that pinhole, gone forever. And now move that other picture into the middle of your vision, the middle of that wall. And you can expand that one bigger and bigger until it takes up the whole wall. You can see yourself victorious, being supported, supporting others. And notice that golden energy from the picture frame is moving into all of those images. They're becoming animated. You can turn the color all the way up. That golden energy is moving. And you might see some of that pink and blue energy in there too. And when you're ready, go ahead and jump into that picture and feel your body absorbing all of that energy and feel it moving through your whole body. You might feel it come in through the top of your head and move through every chakra, every energy point, going down, aligning everything, clearing everything out. Notice how good it feels to be connected in that way to all your parts. You might even feel that connection in your feet as you're grounded by the earth. And notice that energy is moving back and forth through your whole body between the earth and the great central sun, source itself. Good job. And now, before you come all the way back to full awareness, would you like to give me a word or 2 words or a phrase that you can remember this session by? A word or 2 words that'll help you come back into this place.
Steadily confident.
Steadily confident. Beautiful. At any time you're to think of those words, steadily confident, or if you were to hear those words, or even just settle into that vibration, you can journey, find answers, relax, surrender. Steadily confident, steadily confident. Good job. And now I'm going to count to 3. And on the count of 3, you'll be wide awake, feeling wonderful all over. But you've had an interesting experience. Let's start to bring all those parts back together. We'll ask the other lives to recede to where they belong. Thank you so much to all those parts for all that information. I'll count to 3 and you'll be wide awake. So 1, thanks to all those parts. And I'm asking Zia to come fully back to awareness. 2, might be able to hear the sounds in the room. So listen, you can hear my voice. If you listen off in the distance, you may be able to hear sounds outside. Notice those sounds outside as you come back. And 3, wide awake, feeling wonderful all over, excited to put all of these connections together.
Whew.
How do you feel?
I feel like I went through the ringer.
Yeah. How did you come out?
Came out through the ringer.
Yeah, but are you just a flat piece of
Oh, that was a really intense one.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine.
There was a lot going on. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm gonna be processing this for a few days, and
Yeah, I was gonna say my intuition would say let's not talk about it a lot because it does seem like
no,
a lot of it just needs to settle. And also,
yeah,
it was such a kind of long session. I'd say rest and just do whatever you need to do now. Get some food if you
yeah.
need to get some food. Do whatever, do whatever it is that makes you feel steadily confident.
It was the first one where, like, in the last 10 minutes, I was like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm gonna go listen to this again. It's the first time I was like, I'm gonna listen to this 1 or 2 more times before the third.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, I think the part that I wanted to tell you that
yeah,
felt like really good to me, and I don't know if I was bypassing, but like I'm trying to see myself like from here and already on the other side of be doing well,
yeah.
as
I
if the
told you.
colonoscopy
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like in the river underneath the bridge.
yeah, yeah.
And like not even like think about speed.
Right. You don't need to. You're going to experience it. You know, you don't need to dwell on it. You're already dwelling on it. We'll put it that way. There's parts of you that are
I've
already
already
worried
dwelled
about
on
it.
it so much, and now I'm just kind of like, you know what?
Yeah, just
I'm
sit
just
on the
gonna
other.
go across the bridge, that pink bridge,
Yeah,
and I'm
that
on the other side of the colonoscopy and visualizing how I'm gonna be, and I'm not even gonna think about the
yeah,
details of
and then the person 5 years from now, that's not even a, it's barely
it.
even a little. That image that they gave you, it's almost the same as they showed me in one of my sessions. That was like a seismograph, and so it's
Yeah,
just like it was like this, and it's always going up. It doesn't, it wasn't. We're evolving based on just the
it
way we
wasn't
see.
coming down and then going down.
And yeah, it was
It was
going up and
going
down
back
and up and
up.
down, and yet down here might be lower than up. There's different. It's
Yeah.
not a strict linear progression, but if you were to look at it from further out, it would be, depending
Yeah.
on how far away you put the data points, if that makes sense. Like if you look from here, it's awesome. But when you zoom in, oh yeah, it's not one straight line. It's millions of transitions that we're navigating in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. You seem to like the idea of putting in time. So play with that when you feel when you have time, put in more time during the transitions in your life that you haven't had enough time. Go put those in. And we did that in a couple places here, but you can do it
I
any.
almost feel like the time factor kind of just sort of dropped away.
Yeah, well, it's all arbitrary. But if
Yeah.
you when you feel like you need time, that's valid. You can put it in there. I do it a lot with womb work, with birth trauma, and I think I did it with you, with the mother holding the child. You put that in there. So many people don't get that connection.
Enough time with that.
Enough
Yeah,
time.
especially people whose parents went back to work, for example, and
Yeah,
like,
or were ripped out of their mom's arms, which happen, all of the horror stories that you've told, that everybody tells me, they're valid and they happen. And let's go back and do as much as we can to
yeah.
fix that bond, and then okay, and then you can cut the umbilical cord and be separate, not constantly attached, which is another thing that seems to happen a lot.
She was thinking about something and trying to decide how she felt. And then she asked herself, am I not sure or am I not confident?
Ah,
And I wrote that down. And I tell you, during this session with that whole thing with the confidence,
yeah.
I was like, oh my
Huh.
God, like
I'm gonna write
I,
that down too.
I have
I'm not
been
sure.
so unsure about the colonoscopy, but during this session, I found out that I didn't have the confidence to go through it.
Yeah.
A lot of what's been going on in my life since accident has been about I don't have the confidence to move forward with my life because of these symptoms, because of
Yeah.
these things that have been said to me and all. And it's really about getting back my confidence. And now after this session, I'm feeling that confident that I can go through the colonoscopy. And that was the missing thing, was
Yeah.
like not
Yeah.
having it.
So important. So
I didn't
important.
have enough confidence that I could survive the damn thing intact,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like those aspects, the man, he was suffering from the same kind of lack of confidence. And we didn't really explore what planted that seed for him. Why did he feel that way?
Well, the
But
sense I got was his family
yeah,
had given him the same message as me in this lifetime, that
yeah,
your presence isn't worth anything.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And
now
now
that
I
now you're
feel,
friends, you can reassure him. He can
yeah,
reassure you.
I think our friendship is really going to be this thing of us both reassuring and reminding each other
Yeah.
that we can be confident our presence is valuable.
And that the woman that died alone, I mean, seems like,
As soon as you pointed out that we got the lesson now and time wasn't a factor,
yeah,
all the guilt and shame I felt about not getting the
not,
lesson
yeah,
at the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
time, it just dropped away in a split second. I
It's
was like,
quantum. Yeah, we get to go back. We get to it's data. She didn't do
yeah.
anything wrong. It's
I
just
think it's going to help me with this lifetime of, I
yeah,
feel so guilty about not getting certain things at certain points in my life. And
yeah,
suddenly I'm like, oh, I got them
yeah,
now. I can just remove the time. It doesn't matter that I didn't get them then. Even the things you told me that you did with your other person, like uh, earlier on about the,
I know. I was walking around the block
when
and
you told him that,
yeah,
or you told her that you see another version of her.
yeah.
I mean, like, that was
I
like
could
life
see it plain
changing
as
for me
day.
to
She
hear
couldn't,
that.
but
That was life changing for me to hear that in that moment. It was like this big, huge paradigm shift of like, oh my God. Even with my retraining, that's the point, to see another version of myself. And
yeah,
I
the
somehow, only when
potential.
you said that, I really like got it.
It's just amazing what the potential does. It's like being around, like when I was around my mentor, John, there's just something about being around his energy that just dropped all of the external limitations that we just accept without even thinking about it. And I don't know what that is. I can only just hope that, to emulate that in the way that, we can't. There's just something about being around an open minded person that lets you be open minded. It,
I really felt that in that moment when I infused that young man with the pink energy and he got
yeah,
confident and it went into that object.
yeah,
And suddenly I saw that the other person who he wanted to sell the object to could see the value of that object. And it was like I saw how in the past when I was an artist, I didn't
yeah,
have that confidence, and it's not in my art. And that's why other
yeah.
people
It's
really,
reflected in the art, but it's not the thing itself. It's the representation of this nebulous thing that
yeah.
you can't quite put your finger on. Personality,
That my
consciousness,
art was just
love.
objects without that energy.
Yeah,
And now I can actually, just like that woman, like I was thinking, oh, then will those objects never have it? But no, if I infuse that energy now from myself into them,
yeah,
they're going to have a different outcome.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No, this was an amazing session for me. I'm feeling it so strongly, like all the different like moments. And I think this last few months I've been practicing it quietly on my own to have much more capability to
yeah.
tap into that level now. It's
It helps
feeling
the
really,
integration in. I mean, we can do sessions like this with anybody, and a person that's not doing practice, they'll have a good experience, and it might blow them away. But it's a little bit different than if you're staying with, it's just a different